All right, welcome everybody to episode 3 of the IMCA TV Dirtcast. Full house here today. Jim Stannard, Vice President of Operations for IMCA, joining us today, along with the new face here in the office, Carson Becker Graham. Brett, you got a new hire.
I do. Distinguished guests as well, right? Are you guys technically guests on the podcast?
No, that's kind of a home for me.
It is a little bit. You have a room in the back where he sleeps,
That's right.
takes a shower at the truck stop.
That's
You
the way
hose him off out back.
A lot of people roll.
Yeah, exactly.
And then stop at Jersey Mike's and get a sandwich. And
Exactly.
I'm good.
I wish we had a Jersey Mike's in town, but we don't. You got to go to Cedar Rapids, I think, for
They're
that.
the best. You got any in St. Cloud?
Yeah, we have one.
Do you? That's a good place.
I'm kind of a Firehouse guy myself. I like the Hook and Ladder #1. That's my go-to sub, even though I do like Subway. But maybe someday, Carson is our new marketing director,
And I think
marketing integration and sponsorship director, correct?
I think so.
place
You gave me the title, so
I added a couple words. I think it's a fancy title.
Right.
But
and Jerry's replacement on the podcast.
Jerry, I thought that was you.
You're in Jerry's chair.
You're in Jerry's
Yeah,
chair.
This is a Jerry-free zone today. We don't know how it's
Jerry-free
going to go.
Jerry Friesen.
We don't know how this is going to go because there's going to be a lot of dead air that we need to fill without Jerry.
We listened to our viewers. We gave them what they wanted. That's
No
a
Jerry.
Jerry free podcast.
He is like my 5th or 6th favorite announcer in Iowa. I can't tell. He teeters between 5th and 6th. So anyhow, no Jerry today. We do have Jim, our vice president. First time on the podcast.
Correct.
I'm sure it'll be entertaining.
I
Never a dull moment.
Jim doesn't have a filter, so I think
When
we're going
Jim
to be all
has
right.
a microphone in his mouth. Correct. We might be dodging
Yeah.
bullets. And Carson, our new employee, been with us, about a month now?
yeah, about a month.
Tell us, help our viewers who don't know who Carson Becker Graham is. Why don't you give a little background on yourself, not just your role of what you're doing here, but, how long have you been in racing? Have you raced before? All those kind of interesting things. I think people always like to know that stuff about us.
Yeah, well, I grew up like many people at the racetrack. With my dad and
Grew up.
yeah,
A lot of us grew up.
Yeah.
We all grew up.
we grew up at racetracks. Yeah,
Some
trial by
people
fire.
haven't grown up
I would
yet.
agree.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I slept in a crow's nest while my dad announced. So that's kind of how I started. I raced some go-karts.
Where
raced,
at? What?
Middle of nowhere, South Dakota.
And just to clarify, Jerry Van Sickle is not your dad.
Correct. Correct. Jerry is not my dad. Right.
Woo! That's a good thing.
Right. But yeah, so we went to races, raced go-karts, raced some iNext Legend cars, then raced some super stocks, and decided to make money, hopefully, rather than spend it all on racing. So
Sure. Yeah.
decided to get into the business side and go promoting for a while, and then I came over to the sanction side.
There's more ways to look at that. People ask me, you got the best job in the world. You get to go to the races and watch races and work at the races. And I'm like, yes.
Some days.
Yeah, exactly. Some days. And people say, I want to be a promoter. Or I want to work for IMCA someday. And I tend to lean towards the comment that, stay on the fun side of racing.
That's true.
Driving, I've drove race cars before. You drove some race cars. It tends to be a lot more of an enjoyable experience, generally speaking, racing versus officiating and
Absolutely.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But most of our officials, most of our promoters, most of our tech officials, a lot of people that are on the officiating side of racing are former racers.
Right.
Either their kids raced, so all of us, generally speaking, have a passion for racing.
Right.
And you're just another great example of that. We're glad to have you on board too.
Well, I appreciate coming in here today and, coming down and seeing the big town of Vinton.
Yeah,
The Pizza Ranch.
at the world headquarters. Yes, our
Was it
dining.
everything? Did it live up to its expectations?
Well, I mean, I've had Pizza Ranch a time or two. This one did not have an arcade, so
No tickets.
no arcade.
Yeah, my 10-year-old daughter's disappointed about that as well, Carson.
Yeah, but there's cats down the street.
There is.
But we did roll out a little special welcome at your hotel the other night.
Yep.
Welcome to
Yep.
Vinton Carson. And
Vinton's
Didn't
finest
get much
came
sleep.
out.
Yeah,
2, 3
did
in the
not-
morning.
Yep. Vinton is a party town on a Monday night, apparently.
Wrestling in the hallways.
It happens.
It does. I've witnessed it not only in Vinton, but in other areas of the world. So, no, we're good to have you on. It's great to have you. It's going to be you're a great addition. times. Yeah, I think I've told you that when we were talking about this opportunity for both of us, and I think you bring a skill set that any sanctioning body in the racing industry would be very, very glad to have. You know, you're going to make a good addition to this team. So we want to welcome you officially.
And he's hung out with us for 2 straight days, and
And
is
he's still
still
here.
here.
Right.
Exactly. He's alive.
We were in Air IMCA, and we
He
were
hasn't
still
quit
here.
yet.
So.
He hasn't quit yet. So, but Carson's going to be doing a lot of sponsorship programs for us. You know, that's a good part of what he's going to be doing. So, and he's been busy doing that. You know, we send some emails to all of our sponsorship, our sponsors. We have 100 of them roughly, usually on an annual basis. So, Carson's getting himself familiarized with our sponsors, which is a good thing.
Yep.
got a lot
the
of great
contingencies.
Yep.
Stuff like that. Get stuff in drivers' hands and make sure they have good products.
Yeah, so it's good for our racers to know that, you know, obviously we don't a lot of the stuff that we've been doing, we plan on continuing. And
Absolutely.
sure appears to be the case that our sponsorship is very valuable to us, but it's even more so valuable to our racers. You know, they get all those posted contingencies and stuff. So we want to make sure that we maintain that at all costs. So
Super national stuff, all that stuff, victory lane stuff.
Yep.
Continue.
exactly. So he's going to pick up the ball and run with it.
And I think also
You ever play any football?
I did. Broke a leg. My foot was pointed. My toes were pointed at the ground. I was laying on my back. My toes were pointed at the
What
ground.
position did you
Like
play?
Joe Theismann or
Yeah.
whatever that.
I'm no doctor, but that doesn't sound very good.
That probably hurt.
It hurt. It hurt. I played tight end, so I was just lead blocking for our running back, and bad deal.
The offensive
Ouch.
guys are tougher than the defensive guys anyway because they take the brunt of all the.
Well, I come from a small town, like 500 people, so I played both sides.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I played defense, long snapper, all that
That's
stuff.
where the Gronkowski nickname came in.
Yes, exactly.
Gronk.
I played a little football up until about 10th grade, and then I was about as big as a football. So I did not like getting creamed every single time I was on the field. So I hung up my football helmet in 10th grade.
Yeah.
You
Played a
did
little
most of your
basketball.
growing after school. You were,
I did.
You were a little guy.
I graduated high school. I weighed 126 pounds. True story.
Jeez.
It's no wonder I got beat up and picked on all the time.
Nice.
Bullying
Some things never
turned me
change.
into the person that I am.
Carrying.
It's a good thing I'm not 126. Exactly. It's a
Right.
good thing I'm not 126 pounds anymore. I get the crap kicked out of me at every racetrack I go to. Anyhow, let's talk about racing. We had
I think
some-
you're going to see Carson out at racetracks too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
for sure. He's going to become a visible. That's going to be a part of his. Obviously, is a part of his agreement with us. Is he going to go to races? We want our staff at races. We all go to races. Ryan announces when he can, works at races, goes when he has to when we ask him to. Was just up at
Here
a
and there.
yeah. You went up to Green Bay.
Green Bay
Did
to
we
the
talk
trade
about
show.
that before?
No, we didn't.
You're up. Ryan was just up in Green Bay.
Trade show it was last month, end of January, early
Few weeks ago.
February.
Oh, yeah.
A few weeks ago. Had a great time up there. Great turnout up there.
Yeah.
Every year they get hundreds of people at the up at Luxembourg at the fairgrounds.
Yep, they do a good job with that show.
They put a whole lot of people in a small area and they come out for it. Yeah.
Yep. I've been up there when it wasn't in Luxembourg.
It was
but
Manitowoc before.
Correct. I went up there a couple times myself. I actually spent a Super Bowl weekend up there when they had one of those trade shows up
Well,
there.
that was one reason I looked at the schedule because the Packers were supposed to go to the Super Bowl this year. This would have been, this was held during the week between
How'd that
the
work
conference championship games and the Super Bowl, so it would have been a little more bearable had they succeeded.
I won't hold that against
That
you.
worked out about as
I am
good
a
as
Green
the
Bay
Chiefs going to
fan.
the Super
That's
Bowl.
unfortunate.
I wore Chiefs red for you today, Jim.
I appreciate that.
Jim is a diehard Chiefs fan. For those that don't know Jim personally a little
So
bit,
Jim's a Chiefs fan. Carson is a Vikings fan. I'm a Green Bay fan.
Cowboys.
and
I
you
married-
used to be a Green Bay fan.
I tell people this. We live 4 hours from Minneapolis, 4 hours from Chicago, 4 hours from St. Louis, 4 hours from Kansas City, about 6 hours from Green Bay. So people in Iowa, we don't have a professional sports team here. So we cheer for usually surrounding cities. And I grew up as a Chicago Bears fan, actually, when I was a little kid. Yeah, I was a big Bears fan.
Dick Buckus.
Yeah, now more Walter Payton, a little bit older than Dick Buck.
Sweetness.
Yes. I was a Walter Payton fan. They won the Super Bowl in, 85 or whatever it was. Went to the training camp. It was in Platteville, Wisconsin. So, that kind of stuff. But I married a Texan. I think we've talked about this. And I think I have to be like the Cowboys now, or am I getting in trouble? I can't cheer. I can tell you this. I cannot actively cheer for the Green Bay Packers when they're playing the Cowboys without taking my life into my own hands. It's just not a...
There's that much hatred.
Now, if I remember right, there's a picture of you in your suite at Cowboy Stadium, right?
Yeah, that's my suite. All right. I have some picture of us in Lambeau Field, too, in our suite there. It's nice to know people. It is. It's nice to know people. We have some very good friends. My wife has obviously very good friends in Texas, and I have some very good friends.
And you have good
I had a
friends
text
here
on my
who
way. Right.
actually support winning football, unlike yourself.
Correct. Yep.
Well, and I guess the Vikings.
Yeah.
We'll end
Jury's
on
still
this.
out on this year.
What's
the
their shirt that got? We almost always almost win.
Yes.
Is that
Yeah,
what it says?
I think that's pretty
Minnesota
much it.
has a football team?
Easy now.
The Gophers.
Gophers.
The Gophers.
The Gophers.
That's hit and miss too.
Correct. Oh, well.
Well, they got a good hockey team.
That we do. Did we win last night? The Wild?
They didn't play.
I thought you said they played.
No, that game got canceled. They never
Oh.
played the Rangers and won 5-2.
Gotcha.
Didn't happen.
Gotcha.
Oh, well. All right, we'll get off of football and talk about racing. Still not a lot. Not a
No,
lot happening in the racing world.
Weather has
weather's
played an
the big
effect.
winner.
I bet you it does every spring, though. I mean, we always deal with a lot of cancellations and postponements this time of year. And we always talk about how we can't believe that the weather is affecting it. It does it every year.
Yeah.
It affects spring races every year. But if you don't schedule them, it'll be 80 and sunny, and then people will wonder, why didn't you have a race schedule?
Correct. People wonder why racetrack promoters schedule events this early is because if it shifts and the weather's nice, and we do have some nice springs around here even, and we're not racing, they think the promoters are crazy for not having an event or that everybody's itching to race. So it's common for stuff to get wiped out by weather
Couple
Schedule and hope.
specials this
this time of
weekend
the year.
have been postponed and
This coming weekend.
rescheduled. Yep. Beatrice, which is that every third year race.
Yeah.
It will be 70, 80 degrees every third year, and it will snow the other ones.
I was in the infield at the Spring Nationals one year, and they had put water on a racetrack, and it was freezing in the holes that the sheep's foot had made. And then it snowed out on Sunday. That was like on Saturday night. And then on that Sunday, it was like a blizzard in the infield, and they canceled the races. And we all
They plowed snow to get cars onto the track. I remember that one.
Yeah.
I was over there, I think, 20 years ago for the Spring Nationals. Drove in rain all the way over. Got to the hotel. It was cold. The next day it was snowing and freezing. I was there for 6 heat races and said, I can't do this. And I went home. 6-hour drive. Can't do it. Can't do it.
The Race Saver race at Devil's Bowl has also been pushed back a couple weeks. That's going to be the weekend of the 24th, 5th, 6th, I believe, whatever that weekend is.
Got it.
So,
Yeah, even in Texas, where people, I think, generally up here think that it's warm in Texas this time of year, it really is not. I mean, it's kind of hit and miss. It's warm to us, but it's
Better
not
than St.
necessarily.
Cloud.
I'm going. I'll be the witness. It's not warm in Texas all the time. I was in Abilene.
It was warmer here, wasn't it?
Yes.
Might have
In the
been.
Midwest than it was down
Yes.
south
Yep.
during the.
Yeah, and we also know how to drive in ice and snow up here. If it snows or there's ice on the roads, we don't completely
For the most
freak
part.
out.
For the most part.
For the most part, some of us do. Some of us don't. They had last weekend. Heart of Texas opened up, didn't they?
Correct. Heart of Texas
In
opened
Waco?
up. Waco.
Long
Good
time.
car count.
Yeah, good car count.
KSP got their first showing of the year. Once again, over 100 cars at both tracks.
Yeah,
And,
long time IMCA sanctions at both those facilities.
Absolutely great people. Great
Absolutely.
people.
Yep, owning both facilities are run by great people, good promoters.
And the reports, the track was in great shape at both places, and
Good.
very, very good shows.
Which is always good to hear because this time of the year, when the tracks do race, obviously we've all experienced this. When they do race, they can be, the ground can be soft. The tracks can get out of control, a little rough, unmanageable. Not obviously intentionally by the promoter standpoint, but just because of the circumstances of the ground this time of year. So
Some promoters don't have time to get on the racetrack
Yep.
very long before
Exactly.
those races.
yeah.
Right?
So sometimes it's best if the races don't happen. Sometimes they happen and they maybe should. You wish they didn't. But everybody wants to race. Everybody's got the itch to race. Around here, when it starts warming up, I mean, again, I think I said this last podcast. I go down to the gas station and somebody say, "Hey, when you guys start racing?" I'm like, January 1st.
2 months ago.
So
Speaking of track conditions, one track that I have been to several times, I think we all have, and have never seen a bad track, is Southern Oklahoma Speedway, which will be racing next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend with their Southern Stampede. Once again, always a great show.
Yep.
John, Nikki Webb do a fantastic job, and it's just a great event. It has actually turned into an event.
I've been going to Ardmore for, I don't even know how long, a long time. It was sanctioned many, many years ago.
Virgil Page.
With Virgil Page. I'd been down there for some of those times during the Virgil Page era a little bit. And John, I went to Ardmore, I think maybe a year and a half ago. It was my first visit back down there since John had sanctioned with IMCA, and I was just amazed.
Every time you go into that track, it's different.
Yeah.
There's been improvements done. I mean, you talk about a promoter that works his
Yep.
tail off.
And around here, when we're in our office, we're in the office, and we look at car counts, and we talk to racers, and we talk to promoters, and we talk to sponsors, and you see car counts at facilities and certain events, and we ask ourselves, okay, why is this way? Why is that way? What are they doing that's different? If you don't go to races, you don't really know those things necessarily. You kind of make assumptions, but when I went to Ardmore, I wasn't there. It was hot laps probably. And I was like, this makes sense. I get this right away. Because the racers know. The racers have a lot of control. They can go where they want with their haulers. They aren't stuck in one place. And when you get big car counts at a place like Ardmore, it makes perfect sense once you go there and see how that show's run. And the racing in particular. It's fantastic racing.
I remember the first time that I talked to Nikki Webb when she came on board 5 or 6 years ago. You could tell from the first time on the phone, she was somewhat familiar with IMCA, but they had never sanctioned before, and you knew that she had her ducks in a row. You knew she cared about her racers, and it shows through how organized they are, how they treat people, how they communicate with people. So, yeah, they're among the best promoters out there.
Yeah, the first time they came to the Super Nationals, Nikki was walking around, and we met her, and you don't really know the people that well at first, but then now she comes to the Super Nationals, and she's like, and John's the same way. Do you need any help?
Right.
I mean, they could literally run. They could fit in anywhere as an employee, anywhere in the Super Nationals. They're very good at managing their racetrack. So they come to the races and they're like, hey, do you need any help? They come to race too. John races.
Yep.
John won the feature at Heart of Texas last weekend, didn't he?
Kinda.
Uh-oh.
Unfortunately, John and Nikki went on a cruise not too long ago, and John told me before the cruise that he was going to avoid the free ice cream station.
Uh-oh.
And I think he did that and came up light at the scale. So I told John, you only got yourself to blame. All that free ice cream, there's no reason you should have came up light.
Interesting. It's interesting when you have a track operator that also races. And again, like Carson, we all come from racing. We race and stuff like that. But when you have a promoter that's active in racing, and then it
adds a whole nother dynamic too.
It is. It adds a dynamic, and it puts the promoters. It puts a guy like John in that situation. And then when you have a situation like where he's light at the scales, it's not intentional.
No.
Nobody wants to get disqualified on purpose, but when it comes down the road, it just puts us as a sanctioning body, other promoters that are at those events, it puts all us in that awkward situation, but necessary situation where you just got to follow the rules. It doesn't matter who they are.
John looked at the scale. He knew it wasn't right. He's like, and didn't throw a fit.
He probably lit a cigarette and drove off.
Didn't drive through the pits looking for weight. Just went straight to his trailer.
Oh, Jim. Not going there.
Speaking of John and Nikki at the Super Nationals, that one incident where I think it was Libby Port was driving a golf cart that threw Nikki off the golf cart. So
did I know this?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't.
It wasn't John driving the golf cart. I can verify it was Libby.
I get it.
That was driving the golf cart.
That's the story, and
you're
sticking to it.
Yep, that's right. So I just don't want John to get the bad rap for that. I think
correct. He would be in the doghouse for
Libby
ever
Poor.
If he threw his wife off a golf cart.
Libby Poor.
Did it.
Not Rob.
And not John.
Not
Definitely
John.
not John.
Definitely not John. Libby Poor.
All right. What else besides non-racing stuff do we have to talk about? Yeah, I think we touched on it a little bit last podcast about the newsletter.
Yep. That's going to stick around.
By popular demand. Bill, Bill's been our PR director and the editor of our newsletter he started 2 months after I started here in 97. So
25 years.
yeah, like July of 97, I think, is when Bill started. So we've got very used to Bill, and Bill does a fantastic job for us. But he wants to slow down a little bit. You know, he's a little older than I am. You know, I just turned 40.
50.
40. No, 30.
I'll be 40 in a month.
50 is the new 30, Ryan.
You
So
can
I
be
just
60?
turned 30.
What's that?
You can be 60.
Jeez, you're old.
I can't remember turning 60.
Let's play this game. How old are you, Jim?
38.
Okay, that's a lie.
You're 38. I'm 47. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Here's the crazy thing. Jim, you and me are old enough to be Carson's father.
How old are you?
28.
Jesus.
Good Lord.
Is that crazy?
I can't
I'm trying to
remember
think
28.
what I was doing
28.
when Carson was born. Holy cow. You're young.
Yep. 94.
Take advantage of it.
94. That just sounds weird.
I graduated college
Yeah.
in 95.
I was a year old.
I started working. I was working at IMCA when you were born.
I was here. Yeah, I was here in
Yeah.
20. Well, no, not quite that. When did you graduate?
2012.
10-year reunion
He
coming
is
up.
a young,
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
a
big
young
deal.
guy. Whew. But good, because again, he brings a skill. Carson brings a skill set. He's, it's a generational thing. I think a little bit. We're
Correct.
kind of old and set in our ways, Carson.
Not you.
He's not. That's not
If
an
you haven't-
understatement either.
If you haven't figured it out yet in a month, or the last 2
We'll
days
talk,
of our
Carson,
office,
off mic. We'll talk.
Yeah, you got to careful what we say.
You're right.
So,
But no, I think having a young man's perspective on things isn't the worst thing in the world.
absolutely not.
So will the newsletter take a different? Is it going to be the same then? Are you
We're
going to
gonna-
make
we're-
any changes to it moving forward, or
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to try to stick to a little bit more set schedule on the pages, because it can float for those that aren't in the racing or in the publishing industry. It can float depending on ads and whatnot. And some
time
of that
of year?
time of the year, how many members we have, what races are going on, who wants to advertise, all those things kind of make the production of that a little bit shifty. And Bill's been good at shifting every month when we need to. And I think we're going to shift less. I think what we're going to do is we're going to probably get a little bit more set on our pages, be a little bit more selective about what we're putting in our newsletter, contain some of that a little bit, and it'll help a little bit with the production aspects of it, the time that's required, especially from Bill writing stories and doing some of those things. I think it'll trim it back a little bit. He wants to retire. He wants to slow down. He's about Jim's age, I think.
Yeah.
About
So
close to it.
Bill wants to slow down a little bit, and I respect that. Jim really don't want to. He still wants to
I don't know.
Jim doesn't move too fast to begin with, so he.
gas to the floor. Here we go. I think it'll be a little bit of an adjustment, but I think it's gonna be fine. I think we got a good year ahead of us.
Absolutely.
Contracts are coming in.
Yeah, we've got
License applications are filling the back. I walk by, and it's just good to see all those applications come in. And after March 1st, we're still getting a bunch in.
And we do get a lot of questions about the packets, the decal
Yeah.
packets, and those have not gone out yet, so you don't need to email or call asking where they are.
And
Generally speaking,
when is the deadline to get the license in at the original price?
December. I think it's December 31st.
Okay, so we
Not March 1st.
okay, we do go all year.
Yeah, March 1st is usually for us is when we start actually sending out decal packets in that range a little
Yeah,
bit. But the
we have to
price
get
doesn't-
everything in. We've got to get them.
The price doesn't change depending on when you buy it. I don't know why it would, so to speak. What's it matter? Maybe if you need to pay your point fund from last year with this year's money. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning would be. But we don't. We try to stay real consistent on that stuff. Our packets will go out. We are getting lots of inquiries. Because when you buy online, and we do recommend that the racers buy.
Save time.
Yes, buy it online. Racetracks, cost you a little bit more money if you buy it at the track. We do that for a reason. The tracks don't necessarily want that big long license line.
Correct.
First night, they want to deal with getting what they need to run their event for the first time that year. So
We did send an email out today. If you don't check your email very often, an email went out this morning to those who hadn't already bought their license yet this year. And Tammy up front says that there's been a good response to it. A lot of people have
Yep.
have done that online. So check your email if you haven't already.
'Tis the season.
Yes, we just like to throw out reminders. We don't like to throw out price increases
Right.
at this time of year. So I mean, again, when you get into our license costs, we try to maintain those. It's a part of the big picture here. There's a lot of things that are included in that license cost, like National Banquet, for example.
Yeah, and
It's not something, a banquet is really not something you make a lot of money on. Banquets are expensive. We spend a lot of money on our national banquet.
But
you
you
know,
know what? The drivers really appreciate, the effort that we put into a banquet. And Ryan being an MC, I mean,
Yeah.
recognizes all the track champions and how much that means to a guy that maybe a sport compact track champion someplace gets to walk across that stage and get the picture with Brett at the end of the stage. It means a lot to these people.
I can't believe anybody wants to get their picture taken with me, to be quite honest. To be honest, I'm serious.
They're lined
I mean,
up.
it's just me.
They're lined
You know,
up for him.
I don't know if they want the picture, but they know how to keep
Maybe
the,
they feel
keep
like
the
they
prize.
have to.
that
Could
they
be.
have.
We could do like we do on our with drivers packets, with decal packets, for example.
I'll have them check a box.
Yeah, check a box. You want a picture with Brett? Or do you not want a picture with Brett?
I always
I'd
thought
be
that's where they
curious.
got their points one check. They had
Well,
to come
they get that from on the stage when they come across. So we also give our point funds out in
at the banquet.
thanks at the banquet. And those who don't come to the banquet, we mail them. And our racers have got very accustomed to that.
So let me get this
We're
straight.
not going to change that.
We gave out 2021 point fund checks in 2021.
We did.
Okay.
We did.
Yeah,
I
that-
think this
yeah.
year
That makes sense.
4,000 checks? It was 630. It's usually between 3,500 and 4,000 point fund checks that are distributed at that time.
And those were in
It
checks.
Checks. Yeah, they weren't
Did we-
in any. Yeah, we do contingencies as well.
Gotcha.
Product certificates and things like that. And the racers who come to the bank would get that stuff in there with their jacket,
With their jacket,
and the
plaque.
plaque and everything at the banquet. So
And the banquets, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Lincoln,
Cornerstone
Nebraska.
Hotel.
Yeah. Same time, same place. Almost it has been
Same
for
bet
many-
channel.
Same what?
Same bat channel.
I'm a little
Bet.
We
Man.
did broadcast it though. Nate, you were there, right? Yeah, Nate was there.
not only did
Jerry
we
was there. It was not a
Who?
Jerry free zone.
not only did we
He was kind of out. He was hanging out with you outside by the photo.
No, he wouldn't hang out with me.
not
He
only
was-
did we have a banquet, we broadcast it.
we did. We broadcast it.
That's kind of a neat
For the
deal.
whole world to see. One thing I noticed at the banquet, we can move on from this. One thing I noticed at the banquet this year that I thought was really interesting, and I didn't know the hard numbers, but I just noticed it when they come out and get their picture taken. We had an awful lot of sport compact racers at our banquet.
There were a ton this year.
And I
yeah.
might have said this in another podcast, and I'm getting old, so forgive me if I repeat myself. Just kick me under the table or tell me we've talked about it before. But I was incredibly impressed with the age. Generally speaking, our sport compact racers are Buck Carson's age or less. You ever raced a sport compact?
No,
A Hornet?
no.
Bang
Call 'em-
box.
they call them all kinds of weird things these days.
Yep.
They're sport compacts to us in IMCA.
Right.
I've never raced one.
No,
Although
I don't think I can, because I've raced something higher.
Well, with us, you
Oh,
technically
yeah.
could.
You'd
You
still
wouldn't
be
be
considered
eligible.
a rookie.
No.
Did you have any success at your other divisions that you raced?
A little bit, not enough to write home
Come on,
about.
elaborate a little.
Yeah, we need to know how good.
He's crashed a
Norman
lot.
had.
Every time we've
crashed
talked
a
about
lot.
racetracks, he's like, I wrecked a car there.
Yeah.
How many
East
how many
Lincoln.
feature wins?
I don't even know. I never kept track.
That many?
You won that many.
He had so many.
What a show
Let me
off.
get this right.
No, I
Are you
just
kidding me? You've won that many features, you can't keep track of them?
Our
No, I just
director of
didn't keep
marketing
track.
Oh,
won
good
so many
Lord.
races, he can't even count the features.
well, I'm from
No,
South
cr-
Dakota, so I can't count anyway. So
I can tell you exactly how many features I've won and where they were at. I can't tell you the date, but I won 5. I'm like, yeah. At least once I won once, I thought, okay, I can keep doing this. And no, it's really hard. I think I raced for 10 years.
Any track champions? Any national championship, Carson?
national championship.
Come on now.
Come on.
You were
Yeah,
in what division?
legend cars.
You're a legend.
He is a legend in the legends.
I don't know about that.
Wow.
You are to us.
A national champion.
Yeah,
I mean, what a.
I just don't.
but
feel
I don't
This
even
was
follow.
not-
I never even followed points that year either. So
That's
like,
what they all say.
I never looked.
That's what they all say.
Now
but
he's
we-
talking like
No.
Yeah, he's a racer.
Yeah, he's a racer.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I guarantee he knew
We don't believe
exactly where he was.
I
we
didn't.
don't believe that comment.
You know the two biggest lies in racing? I don't race for points, and what's the other one?
I don't know.
Probably should have figured out what you were going to say.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
lost.
Well, no. So on points, I think that we need to start a racetrack called All Points Speedway. You get bonus points if you help pick up garbage. You get bonus points if you pay double the entry fee.
We could do that at the Super Nationals.
Yeah, we should do that. Give more points
Bonus
out if they
points.
actually help.
If you actually help.
We could give a provisional. We'll put you in the provisional pot.
Yeah.
If you pick up trash every night after the races, you get put in the provisional pot.
Don't let people
And we're
run
going to draw out a name, and they're
four-wheelers.
going to get a
Right.
provisional. Sheesh.
Look at this.
Could you
The
imagine?
guy's only been on the
We could
job
do
how
some
long?
fun stuff
Right.
like this.
How
but
long?
people
And
be
he's
like,
coming up with game-changing ideas.
people would begin to think we're insensitive. You want us picking up trash? No, we don't. But
Carson does.
It helps.
Carson.
that would be helpful.
We get a year grace period. We blame
Usually
everything on the new guy.
That's right.
They're burning crap in the pits at the Super Nationals late at night. Not with us encouraging it.
So any
So-
idea we come up with this year that might
Doesn't
not
work?
work?
Carson.
Used to it. It's fine.
Blame it on the new guy.
That's right.
It's all his fault. My Casey's coffee's getting cold. It's about late morning now for those that are wondering when we're filming this. I don't know when we post this online, but my Casey's coffee's getting cold. Carson, you got a Casey's deal signed for you, didn't us? Didn't it? You getting
Yeah.
that finalized? Sweet.
Pretty close.
Casey's
Anyway.
been good to us.
And Carson is drinking from his
Hoosier Tire
Racer.
North.
The official
Yes.
You can get cups but not tires.
Eh,
race tire.
Well, I can get cups and
You can
sweatshirts.
get cups but no tires.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
We
look
got,
out!
we got
That
plenty
one's
of
going to
tires.
take off on the internet.
You went the
We shouldn't
wrong
be
direction
telling-
there.
Yeah, I know. We should not be telling tire jokes. There will be tires. Trust us. We'll just leave it at that. Exciting chain of events or whatever you want to call it here in town this weekend. I mean,
Tornado.
we had a
Yeah.
tornado, an F1 tornado, confirmed, that went literally right through our back half of our property here at IMCA. Actually, I live for those that I live 3 blocks south of here, so it's not very far. And a tornado landed right back here and ripped right through it, ripped the storage building. Oh, there it is right there. Nate's on the ball. Look at that.
Look at that.
That is formerly a storage building
At the world headquarters.
at the
Yes.
world headquarters. This place was an implement dealership many years ago, and most of the structures that were built here were to hold combines and tractors.
Before
and
we
stuff.
turned it into a skyscraper
Before we turned it into multi-level
With an airplane hangar.
with an airplane. hangar.
glass walls. I mean, you can see. It's kind of like Dubai.
You
It's
can
like
see
downtown
across the
Dubai
street.
here in
You
North
can see
Vinton.
across the street.
Kind of like going to those fancy buildings you
Probably.
see in Dubai that have pools in the way up in the air.
There's
is
no
one of the-
upstairs and there's no basement here, so I don't.
One of the
I
tall-
haven't been privy to
Our
that wing.
pools
on
are out in the
place.
parking lot.
That's right.
They're melting snow right now.
One of the tallest buildings in North Vinton.
It is.
Well, now it is.
Yeah, exactly. But thankfully, here, and we shouldn't joke too much because I'm fortunate. We've got insurance. Possessions can all be replaced, and I've been people have reached out. It's been made some national news, and those that know where we're at. I mean, literally Northwest Vinton is where our offices are at, and it was on the news that it went through Northwest Vinton. So people who know we're here. I've got lots of messages, text messages, Facebook messages, and people have extended some very kind comments if we need any help. We don't. Everything's fine. Everything can be replaced, and nobody got hurt. That's
I
what
think it
matters
was
the most.
pretty much narrowed down to 2 streets for just a few blocks. It was right on the edge of town, so we were overall very fortunate that it didn't
Yeah,
track a little farther south and east.
Yeah, and people on the south side of town didn't even know
Right.
that it happened. We had friends that live on the south side of town said we did not even know because I have some friends who keep some of their possessions of boats in that storage building, and so I texted them when I had heard. I wasn't in town.
Right.
I was on another vacation. That's all I do is take vacations. Well, not necessarily. I take free ones when my wife when my wife wins them. I go on vacations with her.
That's not what I read on Facebook the
Well,
other day.
well,
And
That's
if
not
it's
what I put on Facebook the other day either.
yeah,
And if
exactly.
it's on Facebook, it's got to be true.
You guys are gone all the time. Well, kind of not, but no. So I was gone when it happened. So I sent some text to some friends and said, "Hey, go check on your stuff." And fortunately, nothing. It's just a building, just wood and tin. So we'll put it back together. Nobody got hurt, but there were some people that night in other parts of the state that were killed. So it's not a joking matter to us. It's we're just fortunate here that everything we can replace can be replaced. Life will go on, thankfully. So, but Yeah. It was interesting. Not too many people would say a tornado went between their house and their business, but now I can say that.
And then you got 3 inches of snow.
Yesterday,
Next day.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went from
I know.
60s to
So you can't even see how much damage you have.
I
It's
couldn't.
covered in snow.
I couldn't. You know, my daughter Kennedy was sending us pictures. Hey, you know, of the yard and the crap all over in the yard at my house. It blew up one of my porch storage containers and just scattered spatulas and crap all over the yard. And so Kennedy's taking her little video to me and Virginia. And then it snows 3 inches, and I'm like, where is all that stuff? So I have to wait for the thaw. I can even pick it up. So I'm not going to ask my mother to pick it up. My mother's
Bill
babysitting.
actually came out here. Did he tell you that? He picked up the front yard here at the office.
Yeah.
But he said there wasn't too much here, which just baffles me with all of the debris that was all over the area.
It blew that way.
Yeah, it blew to my.
There are some shingles and some fabric paper and stuff out here in the parking lot. You know, obviously we don't have a shingled roof here.
I
so
think my mother might have part of your roof in her yard right now.
quite possibly. I don't know if much of that, you know, that building picture, I don't know much of that detached and went very far. It literally had one trailer outside here, and it pushed the trailer down the side of the building.
Never
and
touched the building, though.
I don't think it did. And I don't think the trailer hit anything, but it's still sitting over in the neighbors.
I thought you parked it there.
No.
It looks like it was parked there.
Yeah, it does, but I didn't. It's weird to me. You know, there's a, and if we had the picture, we'd show it. There's a trailer in the middle of our property here from the neighbors to the west that apparently barrel rolled through our field, and it ended up out here in the middle of it. It's still sitting there all tore up.
I guess I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, but the one that we had, the one I had sitting outside, just nicely slid through the property into the other property and didn't hit anything. Never even turned. It looks like storms are crazy.
But the
like
roof
that.
just kind of peeled off like a can opener.
It
Did
did.
that
It just
kind of opened up?
ripped it right off. I think it's got quite a bit of damage structurally. It looked like it was trying to blow it apart internally. So adjusters are coming tomorrow, so I'm spending a little time in doing that stuff. But hey, everybody's safe.
Well,
That's enough about tornadoes.
you lost your little shed for your smoker.
Yeah, some of the stuff.
Jambo pits, the official pits of IMCA.
Are
Speaking
they?
of that, we got Kevin Ramey's license in.
We did.
Yes,
Kevin Ramey races IMCA.
official member of IMCA.
He needs to decide what he wants to race.
Everything.
Yeah, exactly. Something with wheels.
I think that the problem is if he races everything, he might be able to find something he can win in.
Oh, that's so mean.
I know it.
He's not gonna like that comment.
I know.
No.
That's why I said it.
He did win our national championship. You know.
How many years ago, though?
I don't know.
Like he
25?
he's won the Race Saver Nationals.
Yeah.
He won. I went down to Texas, the 305 Race Saver race at Devil's Bowl that got postponed.
Yeah.
He swept that.
Yeah, and then one minute he's winning sprint car races, the next minute he's in a modified,
And then the next minute he's cooking ribs.
and the next minute he's cooking ribs, which are fantastic.
Oh my
by the way.
God.
There's not a better smoker than a Jambo.
Where can I get some
Absolutely.
of these
I think
ribs?
the next snack day. you're
Jim
gonna
tries
be
to smoke them
smoking.
that good, but he doesn't.
Oh, have you even used yours?
I have. I just don't use it as much.
Snack day. You're responsible for the menu next time here.
I
Jim.
tend to lean towards yeah, snack day. I tend to lean towards the Traeger pellet grill.
The oven,
The yeah, whatever you want to call it.
easy bake oven.
Yeah. Easy bake oven. Exactly. We're telling barbecue jokes now. People will be like, what in the hell are they talking about?
He's trying to follow
I'm
us.
sitting here and I don't understand what
We've
you're
talked about
Yeah.
Jersey Mikes. We've talked about barbecue. We've talked
It
about
is almost lunchtime. It's 5.
Carson, Legends champion.
Legend Carson. We're just going to call him the Legend from now on.
There we
It's
go.
your new office
crazy.
nickname.
The Legend.
For the few times I'm in the office.
I'm looking forward to racing starting.
So we can talk about
Absolutely.
racing instead of stuff like this.
Correct.
It's fast approaching. We're less than a month out here locally.
Yeah.
Area tracks. So
Crazy.
we're getting close.
And it looks like the weather's starting to warm up next
Right.
week. It's kind of cold this week, but this I think in a week, I think next Wednesday, it's supposed to be like 67.
I
It's supposed to be relatively dry too, I think.
Yeah, which will be good.
The early forecast for Ardmore, and it's in the 70s.
Yeah.
So we're going to have us some good weather down there.
But up
That
here,
race can be seen on
IMCA TV,
IMCTV.
absolutely.
So
As can many other. And we talked about this last podcast. Nate's got the schedule up on IMCA TV. Just go to imca.tv. Check out the schedule. You can scroll. I think you just there you go. Are you pulling it up? No,
Look at that.
We got it right there.
hey, we
It's
got
just
one
got it's just got race after race after race after race after
we
race.
got one coming up at I-70 Speedway, one of the nicest facilities in the country
Newly, like, would you call it newly built?
rebuilt.
Rebuilt.
I think it's been there for years, but they chopped the weeds down, and it's an unbelievable facility.
Promoted by a famous person?
Absolutely, the Tommy Estes.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable facility, unbelievable promoter.
Yeah. Tommy's a good guy.
He's a great guy.
We got a lot of great promoters tonight.
Yes, we do. And
You're going to love it with us, Carson. You're going to love it here.
And I
I
think
promise you.
one thing, getting serious for a second, which we haven't done much. You know, speaking of promoters, we've got one that's not doing real well, Delmer Friesen. I think most of you have probably seen or heard about it. And, you know, Junction Speedway, you know, won't be running this year because of Delmer's health issues. But the main thing is, Delmer, get healthy. That's all we
Absolutely.
care about. Take care of yourself. The track will be there. We'll do whatever it takes to help you get it rolling again. But just take care of yourself and get healthy.
Yes, from all of us at IMCA.
Yes.
And all the racers and everybody who's ever been to
Yeah,
Junction.
you see everybody reaching out. You know, once again, they talk about the racing community.
You have to have a passion for racing to build a racetrack.
Oh,
I mean, I don't think it gets more
Absolutely.
passionate than that. I mean, that's crazy.
there's
Delmer's
a fine line
done it.
between passion and crazy, but
Well, he's been dealt a rough hand too with all his health issues. I can't
Yeah.
imagine dealing with
one after the other. So
so many things
Yep.
at once.
once again, we're thinking about you.
Absolutely. What else?
I don't know. You
How
talked
long have we
about
been
the
talking
newsletter, talked about racing.
What have you been up to, Ryan? We haven't talked about that.
Not a
Bowling.
lot.
He's a bowler.
No, I haven't bowled in
No
over a
league?
year. No.
Really?
I haven't bowled since October 2020.
Carson's talked about his football injuries. Any bowling injuries that we need to know about?
No, not that I can
No.
think of.
I had surgery on my
Getting
hand
sore.
about 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. I had surgery on my hand.
And no splint or anything.
No splint or anything. Carpal tunnel. Too much
You
typing.
feeling better?
It feels weird. For those who've never had it, it feels weird. My hand's numb a lot. My fingers are numb. But I'll get over it. Injured at typing.
He played right through the pain.
Typing.
Never
I did.
never skipped a vacation.
oh, I
played
gotta
right through the pain.
Yeah, never skipped a vacation.
I got you. Gotta get this email sent. Click. No. But anyhow. No injuries for Ryan.
No injuries.
Nope.
Just
Jim's
working.
going to be off to races before long. Carson's going to be on the road up north as soon as they can race. He's going to hit some races up north.
As soon as the snow melts.
So what sanctioned
Yeah.
tracks are closest to where you live? Is it Princeton?
Princeton
Probably the
Speedway is
closest.
about 35 miles or so away. And then North Central, Brainerd.
Cliff Saskers,
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Arlington's not far. Go see Bob and
Susan.
Susan?
Susan down there. So
I miss seeing Susan in Florida.
She was there.
I know
Yeah.
it. I know it.
I had lunch. I think it was lunch. Lunch
yeah,
or
we had
dinner.
lunch. Yeah.
And dinner, I think.
It's
Yeah,
always
Bob and-
always great to see Susan. Unfortunately,
They have been
Bob's
IMCA.
usually with her. But
How many years?
it's always great to see Susan.
Correct. We're not sorry we said that, Bob. No, I mean, they've been IMCA promoters for a long time.
I mean, I think it's crazy. You hear him talking. It's what 35 years.
At least.
Older
That-
than
that-
Carson
At
is
least close to 40.
old.
Yeah,
Yep.
They were promoting 10 years before you were born.
they have billboards at the track
It's-
that are older than Carson.
They do. They do. Lots of tracks probably have billboards older than
Yep.
Carson.
Same with
We
bleacher
don't hold
boards.
that against you.
Bleacher boards.
Well, we'll try to no Jerry today.
We'll have to get him
Jerry
back on
Hey, how
schedule.
about this? Let's do a fan poll.
Oh, God.
Who wants to see Jerry gone?
Yeah. Click the like button.
Click the like button.
No.
Who wants to see
I
Carson?
love it when they do videos like
Like-
that on YouTube or whatever, where they like click the like button and they're really skilled at like.
Oh,
Can we put
pointing
a-
it.
Or then they miss
Put
it.
a like
they miss
button
it.
right
yeah.
up here for us, would you, Nate? Click like if you don't want Jerry.
Or we can go to the phones. Jerry from Urbandale, you're up.
I don't want to deal with that call. I don't want to deal with the fallout from that.
Oh, this next
We miss
podcast
Jerry.
is
I
gonna
miss
be
Jerry
fantastic.
being here.
We're gonna have Jerry and Jim
Just the two of them because I'm not going to want to be in a room with them.
like
Wait, speaking of that,
the battle royal.
Hasn't he Zoom called in yet, Nate? He
He
hasn't
probably
zoomed in?
doesn't know we're doing it right now. Did you tell him we're doing it right now?
Nate spoiled it.
Oh,
Has
spoiled
your
it.
phone blown up yet?
I would rather just do it and then post it. Tell Jerry, hey, see you at 3.
I just found out the
Podcast
the
done.
exciting news. You know, I'm going to be down in Ardmore for the Stampede, and I just found out the exciting news that Jerry Van Sickle will be the announcer. So,
That's
At
good
Southern
thing, though.
Oklahoma?
yeah.
Yeah, Nikki asked me to come down and announce her a few years ago, but I had to decline because I have obligations here, and Jerry was going to be there. So
So why did you decline?
Jerry's going to be there.
Okay.
Jerry's going to be there. Thought you two announced together everywhere.
Nope.
Don't you do this super nationals?
Super
Is that what it's called?
Nationals.
How do you expect people to listen to just Jerry talk? You need to go with Ryan.
Yin and yang or whatever
Yeah.
that is.
No. I get my fill in September and a few random nights sprinkled in the rest of the year.
I get it.
Perfect.
Feel my pain
A little bit.
a little bit.
And Jerry will be back next podcast.
He will. He should be back the next podcast.
Unless the
Unless the fans speak.
fans speak.
I'm voting to have Jerry come
Yeah.
back. I'm voting to have Jerry come back.
That's hilarious. It's hard to put these things together. We got Nate going 10 different directions on broadcasting events, and then, obviously Jim's schedule. It's nice to have Carson, from where you guys, 4 or 5 hours from here you live from the office. So it's nice to have you guys here at the same time.
I'm 4 or 5 minutes away.
People get to know him a little bit. So if you have questions about stuff, sponsorship and things like that, Carson's a guy now.
That's right.
So,
I'm going to do a fantastic job.
yeah. Yep.
He's still here after a couple days, so that's
He
a good
survived
sign.
the Pizza Ranch last night.
Yep.
Pizza
Yes.
Ranch, the hotel, the
that's
travels
kind
with
of-
you guys. Those are all good signs.
Yeah.
Our equivalent to boot camp.
Well, we didn't make it like 5 minutes on the way back before Jim is in the back sleeping.
Yeah.
I'm old.
That's
Just-
how he
I'm old.
travels.
I got to get my naps in when I can.
That's how he travels, is asleep usually if he's not driving. And even when he's driving, it's like, are you awake, Jim? So, anyhow. Well, we'll wrap it up for today.
Yeah, we'll be back. Who knows when? A week or
probably
two.
probably in a week or so. I'd imagine we'll get racing started here in the next week or two. We'll have a little bit more things to talk about.
Yep, and probably a lot of races canceled due to the weather, but IMCA TV has your list of everything that's going on that you can
Yeah.
check out this weekend.
And replays.
And
too.
replays as well.
Replays.
Yep.
Check out the replays, Super Nationals.
Race
Sounds
Race
good.
Saver stuff.
Until next time, then,
Race Saver.
Sounds good.
we'll sign off.
I appreciate the chance to sit in with
And I'm glad it's
Legend.
over
Yeah.
and that you're
A
going
legend.
home
the
now.
legend.
In the Legends.
I learned a lot this week.
We're going to get his business cards are going to say that.
Legend.
The Legend of the Legends. No, we'll sign off for now. Again, we want to thank everybody for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.